Hey guys. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a lot more to talk about in this episode than I did when I was reading the first chapters that were adapted from it. Um, because okay, immediately one thing I have to give praise to this episode, and frankly the show as a whole, going forward, is the designs of the worlds. And I mean, just when it comes to just revisiting the landscape of Guilst itself, reminds me how much Mashima kind of thrives off the idea of creativity through simplicity. Like he has a tendency to create locations and landscapes you just want to jump into and explore. And granted, when it comes to Gilst in its current form, obvious in its current state, and with it being like as crime ridden as it is, obviously there's certain aspects you would want to avoid more or less. But at the same time, it's kind of, but at the same time, there are Gil's there are still like elements in the way Mashima creates these landscapes, these worlds, and envisions these worlds as a whole that make you say, even though there are parts I want to avoid in Gilst, I still kind of want to explore parts of it as well. Um, and it's something I think Mashima excelled a lot at in early Fairy Tail, and it's just as much the case here. And which I guess the reason as to why I'm bringing this up at all, though, is because it's only recently I think I really started to appreciate this element of of the series and Mashima's writing as a whole. Because when I first started reading Eden Zero, and every time we would visit a new planet, it kind of there was kind of this weird thing where the logical where the weird a weird part of my brain kept kind of weirdly rationalizing that okay, we're pretty much visiting a new planet, but I'm not gonna. It's not like I'm gonna care about them. The planets themselves are really just conduits or place setters for whatever story is going on at the time. That was pretty much I think a lot of my rationale, frankly, when it came to Eden Zero. I never really like. I think I was just too close minded at the time or something, but in order to really appreciate the world building that Mashima was actually doing with these, but by envisioning all these worlds and all these worlds, these planets, and these like locations and just landscapes in general. Like I never really appreciated what Mashima was doing with these worlds until now. In fact, I don't. In fact, honestly, I don't think it was until the Mildian arc where I started to kind of open up more and actually started appreciating Eden Zero's world building and just again the landscaping of these worlds in general is just amazing. Um, the only thing is that once again there's a bit of a trade-off with the anime where while the landscaping of Gilst is amazing, the pretty much initial appearance of the planet comes across as just average. Like when you first get introduced to the planets of Gilst, it really just looks like a more darker, more drab version of Blue Garden. Now, granted, compared to what happened with Norma in the anime, the studio kind of had their cake and ate it too when it came to Gills. Because even though, again, the initial design just looks like a darker version of Blue Garden, we do still the more we explore of the planet, the more we do see elements of the planet's design from the manga. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of one of those weird things where they had their cake and again they pretty much found a weird kind of middle ground with pretty much how they approached like Gilst in the anime, I think. Um, with that said, there are so many reveals that happen at one time in this episode that I don't know if I'm even going to get them all, frankly. The first one being that, according to which, Pino will at some point become the successor to Eden's Light, which, unless Witch was talking about sister's successor, that what she's saying pretty much reveals to us that at one point there might have actually been a fifth Starshine. But if that is the case, that just begs the question of what happened to her. And honestly, as a manga reader, I might have a better idea now of what happened. If a fifth Starshine existed, I might have an idea more about what might have happened. But it's at the same time it's almost one of those things where even though I have a theory, I almost want to wait for the reveal itself and where Mashima is planning to take the story in the manga to know for sure if if the if there is a fifth Starshine at all and what happened to this fifth Starshine. Um, the other thing though is that Weiss makes his return with Homura Kogetsu, who offers aid in getting Rebecca into the girl's back, and with that also comes the reveal with the reveal of a with the reveal of with the reveal that the with the reveal of a mysterious ether gear, one that isn't revealed to us, but yeah, I'll I'm kind of giving away the spoiler here just by saying it, but let's just but this reveal of her having an ether gear at all, it's one of those things where looking back, this reveal in itself should have been the first big red flag that I really needed to pick up on in terms of where Mashima was planning to take the from search for Valkyrie, as well as where he was planning to take Homer's story as well, because like this was the first big breadcrumb where he was warning the readers of what he was planning to do with Valkyrie's story. I still didn't pick up on that shit until, and for me, like I'm a dumbass. I didn't pick up on that shit until it was too late. But again, we'll get into that when we get into it. Also, even though it's small, we get a little bit of character development from Shiki in that scene where he's introduced to Homura, because even though Shiki is still on the whole can we be friends shtick, you can also see in this moment he's also developing a bit more of a cautious side, as well as and at least learning to question things a lot more. So just a little bit of character development for Shiki as well in this scene, and I do like that. And yeah, within the first couple minutes, we get introduced to Rogue Out as a mercenary group led by Sister, which, yeah, if you haven't already figured out by the end of the episode, is a complete fake. But one thing I kind of appreciate about Rogue Out as a group and the whole idea of Guilst as this crime-infested planet is that once again, it's Eden Zero's way of building up the idea of just how rampant crime has become throughout the cosmos, and even though you pretty much still will completely disagree with their methods and approach, it does add a little validity to the iron-fisted approach the cosmic government and the Interstellar Union Army has taken towards their crusade against crime. Again, we can disagree with the methods all we want, but when stuff like human trafficking is happening right out in the open and in front of our eyes, and even just in the more general sense that we're seeing the criminal element of this world so open and blatantly explored in this arc at all, is telling that there is a little bit of a reason for the Interstellar Union Army's, like, again, iron-fisted approach. But also just the fact that it is so organized is giving us a greater sense that there is someone controlling everything behind the scenes in the criminal underworld of the Sakura cosmos. And I'm not talking about Illega or the fake sister here. There's someone even more at the top, with a vast outreach over crime. I also have to give the anime credit. I didn't think all that much about Illega when reading this arc in the manga, but to me, like, he was just another punching bag for the heroes to beat on. And while he is still just that, he is still that. Through simple things like the soundtrack or pretty much musical cues every time Illega is focused on in the episode, and who as well as whoever the hell the studio got the voice as his voice actor, is really making the character a much more despicable and detestable piece of shit than I ever gave him credit in the manga. Like, this guy is just despicable trash, and I'm kind of loving how much more I hate him in the anime. Like, once again, the anime is kind of doing just through these simple little things. The anime is kind of improving over the manga, and I think that is something that should be. I think that is something definitely to be said about Mashima's work. Is that for as much as I love the manga in a lot of respects, there are certain things that I think that where his series often do get are better served in anime format. I think like in a lot of ways his series are tailor made to be better in anime format. I think a lot of the times, but yeah, and getting back to the fake sister though, the reveal of the fake sister is one of those moments I'm really kicking myself because it was during this time where I started coming up with all kinds of crazy theories as to what was going on. None of them really pertaining to the simple fact that she was just a fake, a fake and a stand-in for the real one. We've actually gotten our first clue of to what's happened to the real sister just for us seeing her introduction and seeing her, the fake one, hooked up to all those like tubes. But it'll start all officially coming together next episode. Also, despite the dangerous situation she's in, I love how Rebecca still finds time in which to try and bond with her fellow beekeeper captives. Again, using a very unorthodox scenario in which to form a bond between Rebecca and the others, which will come back into play later on. But one other thing this scene does is that it provides quite a bit of characterization for Rebecca and how no matter the situation, she'll always be one of the first, be one of the people to always take the initiative. The other being Shiki, obviously, but when Shiki's not around, you can always expect Rebecca to be the first one to act or come up with a plan or solution in general. So yeah, um, but yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst, Crunchyroll, and be sure to hit the bell for notifications. Hit the notification button itself, and yeah, just share this around, guys. Death might have been me. Signing off. Later, guys.